So once again, Vince McMahon is on the news. This time, more details of what happened with the lady who left the job in June or January of 2022 as Janelle Grant, went and did a lawsuit and whatnot, and did a lawsuit on Vince McMahon and WWE. So we're gonna be talking about that today on the Chokeslam Wrestling Report. Very deep. I'm not gonna get to details because I cannot get into details or of the court documents, but we are gonna be talking about this situation about Vince McMahon. Is he looking at jail time? We'll talk about that with the Chokeslam Wrestling Report special.
Is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to another episode of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report. I am your host, the ultimate one. I am tired, first of all. So pretty much right now, I usually don't do a podcast on Thursday, but this news that came in today is very, very big. And we already knew that Vince McMahon was already in a situation where he pretty much pay women to just keep it quiet when they had an affair with him and whatnot. There was back in June of 2022, Wall Street Journal reported that he was paying women hush money to be quiet. Now, the lady in question right now, her name is Janelle Grant, and we didn't know her name back then, but she was let go by WWE, and apparently she had signed a deal where she was going to get paid $1 million for leaving and $2 million for the next 2 years. Now, of course, McMahon was shown the door and was let go from the board of directors, and he was not seen for almost 6 months. Now, before I continue on what happened after that, and I'm going to say this because I already see on Twitter people defending Vince McMahon in this situation and using Chris Jericho as a pawn, as saying, "Oh well, Chris Jericho, uh, you know, he did stuff, but there's no proof. There is no proof that Chris Jericho did what they allegedly claim that he did. They're saying that Tony Khan didn't say anything, but let's keep it real. The person who reported this about Chris Jericho at the time was Nick Hausman. Hausman, a couple of days later, decided to backtrack his statement. Okay. Just because they saw Kylie Ray put a heart on whatever Hausman said, they already thought, well, it's true. And that goes to show you the Twitter world. Everybody automatically, they see something, they think that the person who's reporting it is legit. And he backtracked a couple of days later and said that he still feels the same way about Chris Jericho. So basically, during that whole situation with him and Hausman, it was more about feelings. This situation with Vince McMahon is a whole different story. It's way worse, 20 times worse, because Vince McMahon has been known to be a sexual predator. Okay, because if you really think about it, back in 1986, if whoever been watching WWE for years knows that back in 1986 we had a female referee, first female referee I ever saw in professional wrestling. I was 16 years old. I'm 53 right now. Okay, she was the first female referee. Now, back when this whole thing with McMahon came out, this lady popped out of nowhere, and she was like, "Well, he did this, and that to me." He sexually assaulted her in the limo while he was trying to have her sign a contract. And she stood quiet for years. And what happened with that situation? They're settled. Okay. I'm one that I say if someone is trying to clear the name in the court of law, you will fight this case. Yes, there might be a possibility you might be found guilty, but you don't settled. The McMahon is known to settle with a lot of stuff. He settles. Okay. But I read the documents of the lawsuit. It's 67 pages long. I didn't get to read the whole 67 pages because I think by the 28th page, I was disgusted of what I read. What this man did to this lady. And in case you guys don't understand between sexual assault and sex trafficking is when you grab a female and let's say you assaulted her, whatever, and, did whatever you did. And then you went on and shared it with other people. And that's exactly what McMahon did. John Laurinaitis has been questioned for years that he did a couple of little things back in the days. Okay. I won't put it past him. And the messed up part about this is that there's certain people in the IWC pretty much using Chris Jericho who has not have no evidence of this. Okay. And there's supposedly WWE fans or WWE trolls, I call them, because I'm not going to say the whole fan base. Certain WWE that hate AEW so much that they'll use Chris Jericho's situation to cover what McMahon's been doing for years. Okay, there's no way in the world. There's no way, and you know what? And I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of WWE haters that can't stand me because I'm doing whatever. Now, here's the crazy part. Now, today, I decided to put a tweet today. Okay, and the tweet read. I'm gonna see if I can find it here. The tweet read about people with this the energy thing. I put this was a tweet that I did. I put I want to see the same energy on Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon, the same way everyone jumped on Chris Jericho and the bogus Nick Hausman report. This is a black eye on TKO and WWE. 2 days before the Rumble, this is the same thing that happened to AEW a day before World's End. Now, I'm going to show you this. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, you can't really see it. But so supposedly, and this right now, my boy Mike showed me a podcast. I think it was Owen 365. He just did a podcast in YouTube talking about my tweet and how Chris Jericho liked the tweet that I put and then he unliked it. Now, thanks a lot, Chris Jericho, for putting my stuff out there. I mean, I didn't expect that, but whether he liked it or not, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, Chris Jericho should have not liked it because that these rabid fans who can't stand AEW wrestler, who are out to get Jericho over a Nick Hausman. This guy, again, he backtracked his story. And y'all went right away. You judged the guy even before the evidence was out there. And there was no fucking evidence that he did any of the stuff that people claim, okay? Claim that he did. Where is the evidence? Okay? Now, you're going to probably say the same thing about Vince McMahon, but McMahon, again, if you read the document, okay, because I mean, we're being live on YouTube, and I'm live on Twitter. I'm live on Twitter and on Facebook. But there's stuff I can't even talk about on YouTube because I might get striked and whatnot. And the things this man did to this woman, okay? Now, you've probably figured, why is Brock Lesnar involved in all this? Well, Brock Lesnar, pretty much what McMahon was doing toward the end, before Brock Lesnar's last contract, was, well, I'll offer you this woman to you and whatnot if you sign with WWE again. The woman didn't know that this was part of the deal. And you know what I mean? Gets sexually active with this woman. Okay. And she didn't know that. Luckily, that there was a weather event that stopped this from happening. Okay, Vince McMahon has always been a sex predator, and I'm gonna prove you this point. Back at the Attitude Era, he was one that had this storyline where he had Trish Stratus barking like a dog on her, barking like a dog. Now, you think, well, who would come up with this type of storyline? He did. He looked creepy doing it, even though it was a storyline and whatnot. And especially that creepy mustache that he'd been walking around looking like one of the general from Street Fighter and whatnot. He's a creep and whatnot. You could tell he's a creep and whatnot. So if he was doing that, and he did a couple of stuff with Trish Stratus on storylines, romantic storylines, and all that stuff, that leads me to believe that this man actually was doing this in real life. He was doing it in real life. And many people, like I said, a lot of WWE fans are not gonna like it. They're probably gonna be like, they don't know. They're gonna say that I don't know what I'm talking about and whatnot. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But let's be realistic. Just look back in 1999. He was already doing this shit. He was doing it on a wrestling storyline. Okay. And he got busted. And put it this way. He had to pay back $17.9 million of hush money that he paid women to do. There was reports of this shit on 2022. There was a lot of reports on this. Yet people still defend this man. And the funny thing is that the day that we found out that the Wall Street Journal reported that he was gonna get investigated for this hush money, okay, he got a standing ovation. I don't remember where it was. I believe it was Orlando or New York. I don't remember. He had a standing ovation. People cheered this man even after he was accused of using money to keep these women quiet. Now, I heard I read this afternoon, people were like, oh, well, the casual fans didn't know that was going to come. What do you mean the casual fan didn't know this was the biggest story that was in the whole news that night or that day? How are you going to tell me they didn't know this? So it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. Now, I'm not doing this because I hate WWE, because I know that's a lot of people think I hate WWE. I can't stand WWE. Actually, I'm glad McMahon is no longer in charge. Okay. But God don't like ugly. And I'm going to say why God don't like ugly. That God doesn't like ugly for the simple fact, okay, that this is exactly what happened a month ago with AEW. Okay. It's exactly what happened. As soon as AEW World's End was going to happen in Long Island, all of a sudden this report came out of Chris Jericho, right? And Jericho got booed at the Nassau Coliseum. Now, here we are, 2 days before the Royal Rumble. TKO just got a black eye. Ari Hanari probably is whatever his name is, the owner of the 51% owner of WWE, is probably saying to himself, what the hell did I get myself into? Because if you guys remember, okay, when Ari Hanari bought the company off McMahon, what was the first thing that was said 3 weeks later? That McMahon was a liability to TKO and the shareholders, because during that 3-week span, McMahon was supposed to be recovering from some leg injury, whatever he was, or surgery, and the feds raided his home. He had a subpoena, or they indicted him, something. He has a federal indictment going on because of the hush money. Because he's messing around with it. First of all, when you mess around with the stocks, that's federal. You mess with federal with stock money, that's federal. The federal government's going to come after your ass. Okay, and that $16 or $17.9 million that he gave back, that didn't come out of his pocket. That came out of the company and whatnot. The shareholders didn't know about that. The board members, and then the board members, instead of figuring out what's going on, all they were looking was, the money. Oh, where can we get the money? They did an investigation, supposedly investigation, and they never interview Janelle Grant. Never. And I believe the reason she did this was because McMahon was supposed to pay her, okay, I believe it was $3 million. He gave him $1 million to keep quiet, and then the next 2 years, he's going to give him the next $2 million. He stopped the payment. And if you guys remember, this past week, what was the biggest news from WWE? The big Netflix deal that Raw will be now in Netflix starting January 2025. A 10, was it? I think 10-year, $5 billion deal. Now you think, now my thing, I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, but does Netflix want to go to bed with WWE knowing that this may tarnish them a little bit because the former owner of WWE did what he did? Is this, I mean, it's not going to fit the Royal Rumble because wrestling fans don't give a rat's ass. They're still going to go and support WWE. They're always going to support it. But my thing is this going to hurt TKO in the stock market? I mean, I don't even know how much the stock market in TKO was today. I could check right now. TKO stock group hold. Yep, there you go. What's the stocks today? And I'll give you right now. $87.51. I'm sure it was up at almost 90, almost 100 2 days ago. Because I have stock with TKO because it used to be WWE. So now, what's going to happen? I mean, are they going to be like, well, because supposedly McMahon is still on the board. Are they going to show him the exit? You know, I think Nick Khan set up McMahon. And he figured, well, get Nick McMahon out of the way, bring Triple H back. I mean, it's a smart move. I mean, Triple H, with Triple H taking over the creative control is a good idea. Now, here's another question I want to say. So there was rumors going around that most likely Brock Lesnar may come back to the Rumble and start a feud with Gunther. Is it going to happen now? Or is it not going to happen? That we're going to have to wait and see. I don't see Brock Lesnar coming back. Not after this. If that man shows up at the Rumble by any chance, I mean, what is TKO? Anyway, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it will never. I don't see it happening. But it's incredible of what we're seeing and what we're hearing. Again, if you guys get a chance, read the 67 pages. I mean, if you have the guts and you're not going to be creeped out by what you read, 67 pages of everything that happened in the lawsuit. And there's no way that anybody can tell me that the woman is lying, because the details of it is incredible. It's incredible. It's just mind-boggling. It bothered me so much because I am a father of daughters, of girls, and actually reading that, the things that he did or was done to this woman is just mind-boggling. Like, how in the world this man has been walking around? How many other women has he done this to? You know what I'm saying? And wrestling fan has the nerve to be saying that Vince McMahon is not a sex predator. He is. There's no other word. Oh, SP, since you got to be careful what you say in YouTube now. And I'm sure that, like I said, I'm probably going to get backlash on that. I don't give a rat's ass. This is my platform. I always keep saying it. And if I get flagged, well, I'll get flagged. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying anything wrong. I'm not saying nothing bad or anything. You know what I'm saying? It's just incredible that my podcast, who usually is about wrestling, has to come down to this, because the biggest owner, or used to be the owner, or still 49% of ownership of WWE, is doing creepy shit behind the scenes and whatnot. And again, even this podcast right now is in the middle of how you call it? Of a people saying that Chris Jericho liked my tweet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wasn't expecting Chris Jericho to do anything, but like I said, I'm just speaking out. If you're gonna keep this, if you're gonna go after AEW and the wrestlers or whatever they did, keep that same energy when it comes to WWE and whatever happens with them. You know what I'm saying? That's all I said. I didn't know I was gonna be in the middle of a podcaster and people saying, oh, Jericho, a screenshot is worth 1,000 words, whatever the case may be, whatever it was. But I'm just here, like I said, I come in here and give my opinion. People call me reporting. Well, I ain't reporting shit. I'm giving you my opinion about certain stuff, and that's the way it is. I don't have 40,000 something plus view on my YouTube channel for the hell of it. You know, I speak my mind, speak my heart. This whole situation, McMahon deserved to go to jail. That's it. There's no other things. Any other thing to even say. He deserves to go to jail. There's nothing else to spit. And John Laurinaitis, who also participated in some of these activities and whatnot, you know, he should be locked up too. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy, and God knows how many other executives, every other people that was involved. How many people knew this was going on? That is the question. I'm sure a lot of people knew, but they couldn't say nothing. They were afraid of this man. I mean, I'm like, how much power did McMahon had that they were actually seeing this happen? And, you know, and who knows if Kevin Dunn was involved in this too. Kevin Dunn left because he knew he wasn't going to be able to do what he wanted. And Little Beaver left the company too. So, you know, you can't get mad at something that, you know, you want things to happen the same way, whatever. There's changes, and changes came, and I'm glad. You know what? I hope it doesn't affect Royal Rumble. I doubt it. I'm really looking forward to seeing Royal Rumble Saturday and see what's going to happen there, because, I mean, it's very interesting. Now, it's unpredictable. You don't know who's going to win. But this whole thing came out of nowhere, and it's like a black eye. But like I said, God don't like ugly, because this is the same thing that happened with AEW. The day of World's End, the Nick Hausman decided to go and report a bogus report on Chris Jericho and whatnot, and then he backtracked 3 or 4 days later. And I reported it on my podcast. You guys can go back to my YouTube channel and you can see that I even brought it up. You know, so he backtracked. Or if it's not YouTube, you can find it on my audio podcast, the Apple or Spotify, whatever. You know, but they backtrack. So if you backtrack on something, you have no evidence. In this situation, there's documentation. Everything. It was incredible. 67 pages. Okay. 67 pages. I think one of them said wrestling higher up officer 1, 2, 3. So there was pretty much a bunch of people that were involved in this. So this is going to get messy. This is going to get dirty, and TKO is going to end up probably suffering for a while on this, because this is going to affect their business. And McMahon, they're probably going to let him go. They're going to have to let him go. Something's got to give. You know what I'm saying? Something's got to give. But that's it for me today, guys. I just wanted to come and talk about this and give you my thoughts and my feelings about this, my opinion, actually, my feedback. I usually never come in YouTube on a Thursday night, late at that. But I needed to come in here and give my thoughts on this, and and talk about it. So let's see. Maybe this Sunday, maybe I'll do a podcast. Talk about the Rumble. I want to do the Rumble review really with my boy Jay Santee, because when me and him get together, we vibe very good, and I like join his view on certain things. So, again, let me know what you guys think about this. Again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell for new uploads. I want to give thanks to all those people who have supported the podcast and whatnot. Again, I'm gonna see what happens with this. I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna keep track of this, and I'll probably do another video about this down the line. I'm not gonna do it 2 or 3 days like some people do. I'm not doing that. I'm waiting. See, now there's the lawsuit. We'll see what happens. That's it. Let's see what happens. Until then, guys, I am the ultimate one and whatnot. So again, before I leave, guys, you want to follow me on social media platforms, you guys can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, what else? Twitter. Of course, Twitter, you can find me there or the X, like they call it. Follow me there. Also, check out my audio podcast. I didn't do one this week, but Behind the Curtain series, there wasn't really nothing. I would have loved if this would have came out yesterday. That would have been perfect for my audio podcast, but this was meant to be. So so check out the audio podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple, any audio podcast platforms you got like to listen to your favorite show. Check out also my my podcast store, which is tcwr.veryimpressive.com. That's tcwr.veryimpressive.com. And check out the hoodies, the hats, the shirts, and then check it out and subscribe. You can also subscribe to the oh my god, I can't even talk. I'm tired. You could actually register to the website and check out the audio podcast there, the YouTube channel there, plus the gear and all that stuff that I got there. So check it out anyway. So till then, guys, I'll see you guys next week, and I'll definitely let you. I probably may do up again. I might do a Sunday show, but we'll see what happens. Until then, guys, be safe. I'll see you guys next week. Fucking stream. What the hell?